is an SABC News presentation.
You are watching A View from the House, coming to you live from the SABC studios at Parliament in Cape Town. Good morning and welcome. My name is Nkandla. Now, Parliament is wrapping up its work for the 2012 parliamentary session, and the National Assembly is expected to rise at the end of next week. But today is another important day on the calendar of Parliament. President Jacob Zuma is taking his last round of questions from members of Parliament in the National Assembly. Now, questions to the President include his recent social dialogue meeting on the state of the economy, whilst the official opposition is expected to focus on the development of the President's Nkandla residence. We will bring you coverage of the President's replies in tomorrow's program. But in today's program, we talk to the Minister of Public Works, Mr. Thulasi Nxesi, about his department's role in the development of President Zuma's residence at Nkandla. We've got news and views about a call by opposition parties for a vote of no confidence in President Jacob Zuma. Later in our program, we will also look at the strike action on farms in the Western Cape. Well, let's now go to our first item. Now, in the light of the controversy surrounding the security upgrade and development at President Jacob Zuma's residence, the Department of Public Works has instituted an investigation into the security upgrade of the President's residence. It has also requested the Auditor General to conduct an audit in respect of all projects classified as prestige. The Minister of Public Works says it's the first time that such a step has been undertaken by the department. The outcome of the investigation is expected within a week. Now, my colleague Asanda Mbeche caught up with the Minister yesterday, and she began by asking him whether the upgrade had now been put on hold or was it still continuing.
The declaration which was made on the basis of a security assessment which was undertaken by a team from the Department of Defense, Police and State Security. So there's nothing unusual about making such a determination which has been applied in respect in the residences of the past heads of state. That security arrangement still stands, and therefore it remains the responsibility of Public Works to continue with that. There's nothing that has changed. We continue with the project.
There's been a lot of amounts bandied about from leaked reports and official statements made by different departments on the amount that's being spent on that project. Can you give us an idea of how much money we're talking about exactly?
That amount, it's a speculation. At this stage, we're not going to be talking about that particular amount. However, to deal with the concerns, we are doing a comprehensive investigation where we have indicated that where the public funds are involved, we want to make sure that there must be accountability, transparency, and value for money. And that is why the department, we had to request the Auditor General 2 months ago to conduct what we call an audit of all the projects, which we call them the prestige projects. But also, we have started our own investigation where we've put a task team with the various skills, the financial, the legal skills, the security skills, and all sorts of people. We've put them together who are looking deep into this particular matter, and they will give us a comprehensive report. And once that report is available, we're going to share it with the nation. That is part of the transparency. But we're not going to work on the speculations which are fueled by the opposition parties.
Talking about a task team, who's part of that task team?
I've said the task team members are the people with the financial, the management control, the auditing, the security, the physical protection and the construction and maintenance expertise. Those are the people who have put together. They are busy with that work. They have started with that work and they will give us a report. And that report, in terms of what we call the preliminary investigation, is going to look into what we call the procedural aspects or the procedural integrity, the overpricing, and the general supply chain prescripts. At the same time, the department will also, because we are transparent, we will give support to the investigation by the public protector. So these steps have been taken in order to establish the facts which will inform the basics the basis for the swift and decisive action that, or should that investigation point to what we would call illegal, corrupt or irregular activities?
Talking about the opposition, you raised the issue that they've been speculating. One of the issues the opposition has raised is that the ministerial handbook provides for only 100,000 rand to be spent for ministers. What's your response on their speculation, or rather their opinion that that's been contravened in this case?
They do not understand. The security of the president is done in terms of a number of legislations and a number of regulations. It's not done in terms of the ministerial handbook. The security we have indicated that was declared as a national key point. That national key point, what applies there, it's different requirements and a number of decisions. So those are what inform what is happening to the president. Let me make an example. A minister is entitled to a car here and a car in Pretoria. But the president is, you can't, that is in the ministerial handbook. But for the president, you can't just talk about one car. What informs that? Why do they pick and choose? The ministerial handbook does not apply to the president when it comes to the issues of the security. It is the other measures which are applying.
Talking about the national key point issue, there's been questions about if you say an area is a national key point, the security requirements that go into it. There's also issues about information that can be given out to the public relating to that. Are the grey areas being cleared out on how much information can be provided, but also balancing that with transparency?
That does not fall under Public Works. The Minister of Police can answer that question very well.
Let's talk about an issue that's been raised by the opposition in Parliament numerous times, the issue of poverty in South Africa, other service delivery challenges that occur throughout the country, not just in KwaZulu-Natal or just in Nkandla. And the question has been, can you balance the amount of money that's being spent on the president's residence against the needs of the people of South Africa?
I insist they are misinforming the nation to say there's development which we are doing in Nkandla as Public Works. What is private belongs to the president as a private citizen, and is spending his monies on that. All we're doing, we're dealing with strictly security matters. The issue of the rural development, it belongs to the Rural Development Department, which can be able to explain. By the way, people will be shocked. There are a number of programs which are taking place in this country in relation to rural development, not just to Nkandla. But because of propaganda, there tends to be this particular focus.
A question that keeps coming up, a comparison that's always been made, is that no other president has had so much investment made in him. Is there a way you can explain or justify how that's been done when we're comparing, for instance, with the past two presidents?
Let's wait for the facts. Certainly, to compare what you do today and with what you did 10 years. How much is 10 rand 10 years ago? And what is its value after 10 years? Those are two different things. However, let's wait and say, this investigation, where we're going to be very transparent, what is it going to show us? Because we believe that this is propaganda more than anything else. And we want to insist. And very interesting, people did indicate that even in the previous presidents, it was not just the handbook, it was even more than that. And why didn't they make the storm which they are making today?
You've talked about propaganda that's been bandied about. Propaganda aside, and the answers you've given aside, besides the investigations that are still going to take place, what are we missing in the debate about the president's residence right now?
I think what people are missing is what has been paid for by the state, what has been paid for by the president as a private citizen. And we will be able to give all those facts after our own TASTIM investigation. And we want to emphasize, if there are wrongdoers who have not followed the processes, if the investigations are showing us that, we will follow the law.
Thank you to my colleague Asanda Mbeche, who recorded that interview with the Minister of Public Works, Thulasi Nxesi, yesterday. Now, the ANC has poured scorn over the recent decision of opposition parties to table a vote of no confidence in President Jacob Zuma. That's our story after the break. Stay tuned.